Okay, how did I know I belonged?
I knew I was supposed to be at Olivet the day I visited, honestly.
The first day of classes freshman year, I headed to my 8 a.m. biology class, so excited. Also really terrified with my brand new black notebook. I was gonna take the best notes. I left Reed that day when my classes were done, and I realized that I didn't have my notebook, that I had lost it. As a senior, looking back on the first day of classes, you really don't take that many notes, so it really wasn't that big of a deal, but at the time I was scared because classes were just starting. I didn't know my way around. I was still trying to find my way from Wisner to Weber. I didn't know the difference. So I went back to Reed to try to find it, and so I walked in at the end of a class. Dr. Veld was teaching that class, and I went up. I didn't know her at all, and I said, "Have you seen a black notebook?" She hadn't, but later on that week, she stopped me. She saw me in front of Benner Library and asked me if I had found my notebook. And this had been days later. I wasn't even a student of hers, so I was just amazed that of the hundreds of students she teaches and interacts with every day, she remembered me, she remembered my face, and she remembered my need. And that's when I knew that all the advertisements about the Olivet community were in fact true.
When Dr. Bowling opened up the door for me at Burke, shook my hand and said, "Good morning, son." That was pretty cool.
That's rough, because I've always been the kind of person to be like, I just don't fit anywhere. I think the best way to describe when I knew I belonged at Olivet was through a lesson that I learned. The two things I love to do the most are try and run from God and try and outsmart God, and I'm bad at both because they're impossible. I did not want to stay in Illinois for college. I don't live far from Olivet at all. I very much intended to move to Tennessee, get out of here, and I've tried multiple times since, even for grad school, but that just wound up not happening. I didn't go into Olivet knowing what I was going to study. That was another God thing. Everything has been very God saturated, and every time I keep trying to ignore it, it doesn't turn out well. Not like God's punishing me or anything, but just that I can't escape really what the plan is for me. So I think I knew I belonged to Olivet when I couldn't leave.
I really didn't feel like I knew who I was until I came to Olivet, and now I feel confident in the person that I am. I feel confident in my major. I came in undecided, and now I know like I belong in my major. I've worked hard to get there, but I also belong in the community, as well as just feeling loved by others.
In June of 2015, my family and I, we lost our house to a tornado. Everything gone. And it happened so quick that you can't process it during this whole corona thing. I've lost another home so quickly that I've been unable to process. I found home at Olivet in a time that I didn't have a home, and that I was alone, and it was that sense of belonging. There was one night I was coming back to Olivet from my house. Like, I had gone home for the weekend, except it was during the time when we didn't have a house yet. We were living in a rental house because we had lost our house. And I was pulling back in through the front gates of Olivet, and I remember looking up at the sign and the flags and pulling in and seeing the cross of Centennial. And there was just this overwhelming, like, it's like when you hit a wall in that moment and you like feel the pressure in your chest and you realize you're like, oh, this is it. And it was this moment. I like stopped, I pulled over into the admissions parking lot and I cried. It was a great time. But it was just this moment of like, I do belong here and this is home. And it was especially prominent because it was during a time that I didn't have a home.
ONU is a great university. There's a lot of perks. I think that it's a great place to study, a great place to learn, a great place to grow as a person. But man, the people are the best part. The people are so the best part. To know so many loving, caring people, ambitious people, hardworking people, determined people, God-fearing, God-pursuing people. It has just been such a blessing to have known the people I've known while at ONU.
My freshman and sophomore year, I really just met this great group of people that two of them lived down the hall from me my freshman year, and they were roommates, and they just kind of welcomed me in to their circle. Like I said, I was not sure what I was doing. My roommate and I, we were struggling. We were getting into fights all the time, and we ended up moving out. But now her and I are best friends. We decided that we just could not live with each other. But we love each other so much that we knew that God had put each other in our lives for a reason.
My freshman year, I was a complete hermit. Didn't really seek out to expand the small friend group I had made. Was really like quiet, shy, didn't really like join any groups on campus or anything. Towards the end of my sophomore year, I got involved with a little art ministry called Heart. I really fell in love with it. Like, it became this huge passion. I loved going every week, not just doing the art projects, but also the community of it, just being around people and using that time to, be creative, but also talk about our week, talk about Jesus, expand our faith and expand our community together. The following year, in my junior year, I had the awesome opportunity to start co-leading that with Jonathan Gonzalez. It was a blast. Being a part of that allowed me to meet so many more people on campus. I found like where I was and where I belonged at Olivet through student ministries and through Heart, and it's just something I'll always look back and treasure.
My sophomore year, in the fall, I had joined ministry teams and had spent the entire summer traveling to churches and camps, leading worship and stuff like that. Became a part of this wonderful, incredible friend group by playing board games. Secret Hitler was our game of choice. It was the name of our group chat. It just became this incredible community of friends that became family for me, and it was a really challenging semester for me. It should have been one of the worst couple months of my life, but because the Lord put those people in my life, it was my favorite semester in all of college. To this day, I still have meaningful relationships with so many of those people and keep in touch with them and play games with them. I'm so grateful for them because they 100% changed my life and made me feel so a part of the Olivet community, because it was people from all different parts of campus. There were people in ASC, people in ministry teams, RAs. It was incredible.
So someone recently was asking me about Olivet. I was just talking a lot about our community, and this person was saying how at the school he goes to, it's a bigger public school, and how there's a lot of small communities, but the school itself isn't necessarily a community. He was just noting how it's so interesting that Olivet seems like the whole school is a community. I love that phrasing because it's so true. I love that I can walk through campus and meet someone new, and then also see a ton of familiar faces. Being able to walk into Ludwig or Starbucks or Common Grounds RIP and just share this common bond as an Olivet family. I'm really thankful for the times that the Lord allowed me to be present in those moments, and to truly appreciate them for what they were. Like that, this community is something that will always be near and dear to my heart.
I'd say my Olivet community was just tons of different circles around Olivet, and I think it was like that for a lot of people. At Olivet, if you meet one person, you're gonna meet five. When you meet them, they're gonna say, "Hey, let me introduce you to my friends," and then you're gonna meet several new people right on the spot. From meeting those 5 extra friends, you'll meet even more. It's quite inclusive. There's not necessarily cliques at Olivet, and everyone can get involved no matter who you are. I think that's great about the Olivet community. That really, shaped who I am, just because I was able to be inclusive with other people from seeing that.
One of my best friends, Brad Sunland, started this thing my freshman year called Tea Time. Every Tuesday, he would have people over in his apartment. We'd have tea and we'd talk. It started with 6 to 10 people on average every Tuesday, but by the last one, we were averaging 30 to 40 people a week crammed into an Oaks apartment. The thing that was really special about it, and what made it such a good microcosm of Olivet and the community that it values, was the fact that it wasn't people from one friend group. Brad had this really unique ability to bring in different types of people and friends of friends of friends that made it this really, really beautiful, vibrant place to be, because people didn't necessarily know each other well. We were able to have really good conversations and arguments about anything. It felt like home. It really felt like home, and I've met some of my favorite people on the planet through it.
Olivet's really taught me the value of community, not just going somewhere and just being there and being an individual, but going somewhere and really investing in the organizations around me, investing in the people around me, and just seeing what I can give back and what I can participate in with and what I can do as a whole, not just as an individual, has been something just so powerful, and I really look forward to carrying that with me wherever I go.
It just felt such like a wholesome, godly community and spirit, just like all throughout campus and just throughout the people there. I mean, people make or break everything, right? But Olivet, they make it at Olivet for sure.
I knew a ton of people from engineering, but not only that, I knew people from tons of other different majors as well, and that was one thing I loved about being at Olivet, is knowing so many different people from different majors. I talked to my other friends who go to big state schools. They only know people within their major, which is just crazy to me because I feel like you don't really get to know that huge of a variety of people if you don't know people from different majors. So that was really cool.
My Olivet community, besides my wonderful roommates, was the theater department and green room. Getting to be involved in productions, and as a crowning moment, getting to co-direct the play These Shining Lives with Amanda Durbin has been a huge part of my Olivet experience. I've made so many close friends here, learned and grown so much as a performer, and I believe become a better person because of these people in this community. I love you all.
My Olivet community was the Olivet track team. I learned a lot from my coaches and my teammates there. I learned how not just to be a great teammate, but a great person as well. I really miss them and appreciated all 4 years of being able to be with them after 3 o'clock and being able to have lunch, dinner, breakfast with them as well.
One of the big ones was the communications department as part of my major, and just everyone being super close in that department as well, with the community room that we have in the building and the Donut Fridays and all that stuff.
Good old Dr. J at the comm department. He has impacted not only my life, but so many people that are around him. I'm very thankful that he is one of my professors. The belief that he has in not only me, but in all of his students is insane, and I just felt like I could go talk to him about anything about my problems, and he would just be right there to be a helping hand, to pray over me, and I'm very thankful for that, and I will always be thankful for what he's done for me and just the help that he's given me.
Dr. Ryan Heinrichs really impacted my life, kind of with his like stories and just real world business examples that he's had to deal with in the past throughout his career. I just thought they were pretty interesting and entertaining, but they were also just really full of knowledge.
It's people like Dr. Garner and Dr. Blanchett that make me want to come back for homecoming and like make me want to continue to be a part of the Olivet community, even after I've graduated, because like I owe them a lot, mostly my sanity and my degree. Having the theology department as your department, it's so incredible. They're such supportive people. They are always there for you, no matter what time of day. And just like having that in the back of your mind and like this constant knowledge that like people are there for you and they're praying for you and they want you to succeed. It's having that core group of professors that like looks at you and you're like, they're like, you can do this, like you're gonna do this, whether you want to or not. I owe a lot to the theology department on campus.
When I was an RA, I came in for first year in Chapman and I was like, I'm gonna change these kids' lives. I'm gonna do something great. And I was so wrong. Not that I didn't make a difference. I don't know what differences I made, but I do know that they made a difference in my life, probably more than I made a difference in theirs. And that was like just interacting with so many different people, learning so much about people through that experience was huge. You just learn so much about the human, the human being and the human behavior when you have to take care of 50 guys in a dorm hallway. So a lot of those guys, though, I've come to know and love, and I still keep in contact with some of them. Those whole relationships, the many different ones, have greatly impacted me.
A big part of my experience at Olivet has been being a part of ASC. For the 3 years that I was a part of that, I think what stands out most is the bearing with one another, and I don't say that in a negative way, but just constantly encouraging and caring for one another, sharing like what people are going through, and then being able to remember that and check up on people and pray for one another, I think was really powerful and showed me what it looks like to be in community with believers, loving one another and caring for each other's needs.
being in ASC, having that community was by far my favorite. I think ASC can get a little bit of sour taste in people's mouths, and I was just very pleased when I got to be a part of it that it's a group of students who love the school and who want to be there to help fellow students and just who want to encourage one another. And I'm very thankful for everyone who is a part of it. They are some of my closest friends, and so I'm very grateful for that aspect of my Olivet community.
I was sitting in an office with JP Troglio, who is now the pastor at Oasis, a church in Chicago, and he was my counselor for Olivet. And one thing he said to me was, you know, Olivet might not be the place for you, but we're going to try and help you figure out if it is. That just showed so much humility about the school. It's not like, oh, Olivet sucks, but no, it's Olivet is a good school, but it's not for everyone, and that's okay. And that really reflected on the humility of the school. And humility isn't a lack of pride or a lack of function, but rather a focus on something else other than themselves. And honestly, the school has so much of a focus, less on how great the school itself is and more of a focus on how great its students are and how great other people at the school are. For the most part, most students and most teachers and professors don't point to themselves when it comes to something that is great. They don't point to themselves or bring themselves up in conversations, but rather point to the actions of others or the actions and the Spirit of God.
When I first came to Olivet, I was a commuter student. I would say I wasn't aware, but had a lot to learn. I was someone who was very self-consumed, pretty selfish, and also just my world was all consuming to me alone. I cared so much what people thought of me. I cared what I looked like. I cared how smart I compared to other students. I had invested every ounce of my attention to things that really, at the end of the day, meant nothing. And so all of that taught me, it helped me to unlearn that, right? It helped me to kind of let go of some things that really fed into this dance between ego and vanity, and helped me to just love on others, to care for my neighbor, even at times before I care for myself. It taught me how to be strong and confident in an identity that wasn't built by my own hands, but was built by our Creator. It helped me to be okay with being less than and average, being broken, and even being bad at things, and to rely on others when that's their strengths. It helped me to recognize what it looks like to find a good friend, to stick by their side, and to cheer them on in their lives, and not be sidetracked by friendships that maybe don't yield as much.
It's all that's changed me for the better. I've grown in my education, obviously. I learned a lot about accounting and finance, numbers. But I've also grown emotionally and mentally and learned how I can process things in a healthy way, how I can work through things with friends in healthy ways, how I can build intentional community with other people who love the Lord as much as I do and who just want to see each other grow and want to see themselves grow in their relationship with God. And then how to make God the center, truly make him the center of my life, of every action that I do should be motivated by the fact that I want to love God and love other people. And so all of that has just shaped me and shown me ways in which I can do that and shown me the importance of that.
Olivet has fundamentally changed who I am. I am so grateful for the Christian with an education purpose is their motto. You can see it everywhere. I felt like that has really been emphasized in my education and in my spiritual growth at Olivet, both with just professors who pray with us and pray before tests and do devotions before the class starts, and coming to chapel and hearing speakers that have so much good wisdom to give. Olivet has changed me, and it's really hard to leave a place like that and not be changed. I love Olivet.
Olivet has taught me to work as a team with people towards something, even if it's not exactly what I want to do. I'm graduating with mechanical engineering, and I don't think I want to pursue engineering. So my goals would be to pursue something I'm very passionate about, but I'm so grateful that I went to Olivet for engineering because it taught me to work hard at something, even if it's not what I'm passionate about. Also, it taught me how to think and how to act as a person in this community. It's been priceless, and I'm just so grateful for it.
One of the ways I've seen God move through my time at Olivet has been through finances. I was a part of the Preaching and Music Ambassador program. I traveled to churches around the area of Olivet within Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, 3 times a semester, and I led worship at these various churches. I have met some wonderful people who have become close correspondents of mine, friends. We write letters back and forth. And one old gentleman in particular has been extremely generous and donated over $3,000 to help me pay my school bills. I am immensely grateful to this old gentleman. He is so sweet. I enjoy all of the letters we write back and forth, and he has been so generous to help me financially pay for school.
So this year has been really, really hard, even before like the whole coronavirus thing, because in January I got a call that my dad had actually passed away super unexpectedly, and like for full transparency, I've never had the best relationship with my dad, but the news of that still like wrecked me, and I honestly had no idea what to do with that or with myself or how to grieve any of that. I didn't know what to do. So when I think about a time that Olivet has impacted me, I think about those days right after my dad passed away, when I was at my lowest and when I needed people the most, and when people at Olivet surrounded me with love. So I think about my friends, about Nikki, Lily, Jonathan, Ryan, Caleb, Grace, Danielle, who just ministered to me with their presence, and who were there for me when I needed them, and who loved me, and like anything I needed, they were there and they were willing. And then I also think about the staff members that I've gotten to work with through ASC, Kathy Steinecker, Matt Smith, Chelsea Spees, Pam Wheeler, who moved around their entire schedules those days after to be there for me, who were like a phone call and a text away, and who made me feel safe enough to like trust them and to grieve with them and to be vulnerable with them, and just again like minister to me with their presence of like, hey, we're here, we love you, and like we're praying for you, anything we can do for you, like we're here. So it was in those times, like in that week and in the weeks following, that like I truly saw God moving, just in the reminder that he has given me such an incredible support system and incredible friends who love him and who also love me, and who love me well. Olivet has always been just the perfect image to me of like community and what it should look like, but in those moments when I needed my community the most, like that's when I saw the Lord moving. That's when I saw what the church should look like and how to love people, and so that just really, it brought me through, it's bringing me through some really hard times right now, and it's incredible, and it reminds me of how good God is, and how he's blessed us with people that love us. I love Olivet. To close, like I love this place, I love the community, I love Olivet, even if it's imperfect and disappoints me sometimes. I love Olivet. It's been such a big impact on my life, and I know that I'll continue to carry it in my heart even after I graduate. So yeah.